Alright, call the meeting to order at 7:12 on Tuesday, October 10th. Mike Volpone.
Patrick Heffernan.
David Roll.
Michelle Hall.
Celine Muldoon.
I'd like to, everybody got a chance to read the minutes that was sent around by Celine today. Are there any questions other than the ones, I think Mark had a couple of edits?
He did?
That was
Any
for the
question?
other- That was the other document you sent.
No, that was the charge meter,
Oh, okay.
statement charge. This is, if you need to see it, there's a copy that, the lighter gray ones are his comments.
Okay.
I didn't have any problems, I wasn't
I
here,
didn't
but
get those at all.
he emailed those out. As part of the thread, he sent it back out to everybody.
I didn't either.
I'll just have to take that and incorporate it. I did not get that.
Alright, then we're gonna table the,
And can everybody use my home email? I try to keep my work email.
I changed it, I took mine off, I made sure we
People
confirmed
kind
it.
of,
Vary which one they use.
let's see.
Alright, so we're gonna table the minutes, approve the minutes until everybody gets a chance to look at them for next month. It'll be a quick, easy thing, we'll put it back up, so,
He's done.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, how?
Yeah.
Okay.
alright, so Celine, just make sure you're good with that. We send those back out and then we'll get them approved next month. Any correspondence or anything regarding bills and claims?
Yep.
I presume you do.
For some reason, we only had one bill. I don't know where October's bills are, in Gmello. So, unless somebody went in mailbox. And we should be nearing the time of year that we're gonna,
Shut them down for a period of time.
yeah.
I would say not until it's in November because it's not in the fields
No,
until,
I mean, this is already October's meeting,
Yeah,
so by
sorry, yeah.
November's meeting.
I think November's meeting we make the
So we
decision
should
of
put a
notifying them.
Gmello on, do we wanna start an agenda for,
Yeah, we have things we already wanna talk about then.
The soccer goes to, November 4th, I think, is the last, right? November 4th? Yep. That's summer soccer.
That sounds about right. Wait, how many? 3 games? No, 4. That's something.
Oh,
I don't know which one is, one of them was, is this?
any other bills? I like mine here, so.
Yeah, so 4 games up, that's right.
Okay. Old business, policy and procedures, final, vote to go to Board of Selectmen. That was the last one we sent around that went through, everybody had their last take through it, are we okay?
went to legal, and then we
Yeah, we came
legals.
back and they were fine with it. Oh, they had a couple edits, small edits, but does anybody have any beyond that? Any other questions?
I feel that we did the whole document and legal made their tweaks.
Yes.
To me, it's.
Did they?
It's done.
Yeah, it's.
Alright, I make a motion then to accept the legal version of the policy and procedures so we can send it to the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
One second, I don't write that, I don't write. You talk.
I'm going to draft it up and I will send it over to the board for their next meeting so we can get it done and find out, I'll talk to Alicia and see what needs to be done, if we have to present it to them or just send it on for their approval or what. So that's not a thing for the agenda, it's just something I have to do. The next is the fee schedule.
I have some paperwork.
Slim, David and I met and went over comparison. We grabbed 10 different towns and cities that, in the areas and stuff roughly. And Celine broke it down very well, and tried to get an idea of a apples to apples type of comparison.
Because it's not, it didn't print well.
We're the only ones that do this type of thing on a per person basis. Everybody else goes either per hour or like a 4-hour block type of thing. And so if you look at, when you get down to the numbers, and you get more towards the bottom, and it says Triton Widow, if you take their hourlies, their 75 hours, times $50,
A random number,
Yeah.
I read.
Yeah,
No,
and just
$25, I think.
no, you're 50, yeah. Or 24, that's it, I'm sorry, so. If you, so it's cut in half. So if you took their $25 an hour for this, for the 75 hours times 13 weeks, it's about 24 grand they would owe instead of 36.75. So if you took,
So,
go ahead.
Wait, run that by me again?
so basically, the way it's done right now is that we charge them per person for the season instead of per hour for rental fee of usage field. And all the other towns have varying degrees, but it's all per hour, not per person. So I'm not saying, we're not saying at all that we're gonna charge these numbers.
No.
We're saying that based on the amount of time that they rent the field for, what they're basically paying for a season is what they, if you charge them $25 an hour for a rental fee, it's what they're paying, it would be a weekly fee.
Yeah.
But they're getting 13 weeks of it.
So this is what they're paying
Mhm.
Yeah.
us right now for the fall?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you took 75 hours times 25 hours, $25, that's $18.75, and then that times the 13 weeks, that's $24,375, and right now we're charging them $36.75.
So we know Triton Youth Soccer can't afford
No, we know,
that,
no.
and we know GPS's numbers are estimated to be $60,000.
Yeah.
No,
But
that's
we kind of feel that one of the reasons why we're looking at this is because they reserve a huge amount of time without any real.
Yeah, they take the field for
They
the day.
they just reserve the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to figure out how we can make everybody a little bit more cognizant of the time that they're renting the fields so I've gone to the next, I'm in the process of going to the next level and breaking down all of GPS and where they rent fields and what they're paying for. And you'd be surprised at my first little bit of information, but we'll hold that for
I'm
next week.
trying to,
Well-
Okay.
I'm trying to find, Morgan plays a GPS,
Right,
and we're around,
Are you a Metro?
3,000 a year.
yeah.
Yep, I got that off the website. So I don't know how many people are,
I
It's
mean,
uniform.
I
Yeah,
don't know
and this-
how
and
many
this is-
people are playing GPS.
Per team?
I'll find out, there's probably 14 kids per team, but let's say like 15 kids per team.
And the
Plus they
thing,
also have practice players that don't actually play on
but I mean, we were looking at the numbers and just, the hard thing is when we looked at all the different towns, everybody kept saying it was like, either it was a charge for like a 4-hour block or a charge per hour, and it was breaking down the in-town or your youth leagues, like the Triton Youth League, your civic organizations, stuff, your nonprofits, and then other.
Yeah.
And when you look at all the different variances, I said it was like, we were so much cheaper than everybody, so it was like, are we leaving money on the table, or are we really benefiting the groups? And it's like, we wanna make sure we're taking care of the youth programs, because they're the ones that really, we wanna nurture.
Well, I'd say it's less about what we could get from them and more about being fair and consistent, so that, like, yes, the town teams, because they're a town team,
Mhm.
should have a different scale or different
Which is what we
price-
did, we cut the price in
pricing,
half.
Yeah.
right? And then, as opposed to somebody else that's a for-profit business,
Mhm.
which is what that is. And then you don't even have to figure out like, oh, you know, what they're bringing in,
Yeah.
it's just keep the fees fair.
Per hour number that I threw out there, I mean, I first started at 150 and 100 an hour, because that's what some of the other towns had.
Right.
And then when I saw how astronomically off the numbers were, I kept bringing it down. Well, okay, let's do 125, 100. Okay, let's do 175. Now I'm down to 50 and 25, and it's still,
A lot of, well, yeah, and you could price them right out of your fields,
Yeah, exactly.
so that you would not get
I mean, again,
any
this is-
more,
well,
this
and I
right?
wrote that at the bottom, Matt, you know, I don't wanna lose anybody, because everybody's been great tenants, but these numbers haven't been revisited since 2006. So, and my goal has always been, if we could, is to not charge youth leagues at all if they're nonprofit, you know, let's give them, or charge them real cheap, $10, or keep the per player number for them,
Mhm.
but charge per hour for the profit people. So there's a lot of different variables, that can take place, and so it's gonna take a while to really kinda hash it out. But I think the thing, you know, some of the tier programs that a lot of, you know, Woburn, for example, has 5 tiers, which kind of was where we were going originally. But then like Masco has 2, and you're either 100% Masco, or if you're not, you're tier two, you know,
'Cause
you're
they're
tier
re- 'cause
one
they're
or you're
regional.
tier two, and so it was really kind of some valuable information to kind of, you know, you're not doing apples and apples because Woburn has turf, and so that's part of what they're renting, and we're not, you know, we're just grass. We don't
But
need a
that's-
custodial fee, an interesting thing for down the line,
Yeah.
if we have the field house open, you know, a custodial,
You
somebody's-
will,
yeah,
yeah.
so,
I mean, that 25 and 50 was below anything that was out there.
Yeah.
Not even close.
The other thing we found is that the people I talked to, that nonprofits, when you were saying nonprofits, well, nonprofits don't really mean nonprofit, because some of these groups can go into nonprofits, but people are making money. And, you know, they have paid staff and things
Right,
like
yeah,
that, but they
yeah,
can
well,
still fall under
right,
nonprofits.
right.
But if it's local teams, you know,
So that's where we stand right now. Celine said she's gonna
A lot
go
of
back and we're gonna meet together again on the 24th, I think, 2 weeks. And we'll come back to the November meeting with what we would like to go with a final number out. But this would not go in effect until September of next year, is what I think we talked about.
right.
yeah.
So everybody would have a chance to get some notice saying, hey, this is what we're doing. But we wanna bring it back to the committee next month and say, here's our plan.
Well, and I think we may need to get some user input.
We should, because
Yeah.
you have on here, I mean, and it makes sense, like, make more diligent for the amount of time that you reserve the fields for, but is it your sense they reserve the fields and don't use them most times?
No, they use them, and we sometimes are concerned that they are almost using too many, they're getting extra fields.
Well, this year
Okay.
kinda got screwed up with the divot, but I'm still,
Yeah,
nobody got back to us and told us we're gonna use other fields, they just kinda moved.
They just
And
they
that
don't
was
run
kinda
here.
like, you know, they really need to be communicating with
Yeah.
us, and not waiting for Michelle to go and say, why are you using other fields? The other thing is, if you look at GPS's application, it clearly says 9 September, like the way he filled it out, that they were only gonna be there for 4 weeks.
Mhm.
Now, I know it was a mistake, so I let it go,
yeah.
but, you know, don't be sloppy with your paperwork, you
Yeah.
know, it's an easy form to fill out, put November, if it's November, not September, if it's.
Yeah, so it's like if you're gonna be here for not just 1 month, if you're gonna be here for 3, we're still charging them that.
Or maybe be a little more diligent also with the, you know, there were a couple, what were they, the 1 week things he did during the summer.
The camps,
The
those are.
camps, yeah, that weren't charged, that I firmly believe should be totally a separate application.
Oh, yeah, I
We
agree.
let it go this year as kind of I like to grandfather things in and let people know, okay,
Hey,
this is the
And
way
what-
it was
and-
done,
and-
we'll let you
and
get
this
away
is
with it
not
this
a-
year, but next year.
It's not we're going after GPS,
No.
we're just trying to, I mean,
Make things-
hearing what they're, we're trying to make sure we're in the market.
Right.
Up to date
Not-
with our pricing.
Not near the top, not near the middle, I mean, more on the bottom end still, but we're so far below it is we need to find, we are leaving some
It
money
has
to
to be
get.
equitable, it's,
Yeah.
it's costing money to upkeep the
Yeah.
fields, and it's gonna end up costing money for that
Exactly.
field house.
And they have been very good partners in regards to, they wanna do the stuff they're coming on, but they also know we're not supervising them quite as much as we probably should, and it's shaming us to a point, but it's also, there's only so much when we're all working our jobs too, so.
Well, I wonder if would it be feasible to do like a per player fee like we do, and then do per month on top of that, kinda like you're gonna be on the fields for 3 months, so then that's incurring another.
We'll look at the map, we'll see what it looks like, that's a good idea, again, anything that comes out or anything you guys have, please forward to us.
Yeah, like a room rental fee or something that you would
Any
have.
suggestions that people have, I will say that, one person that I talked to, another GPS that rents other fields, they admittedly said that they negotiated a separate contract with GPS because the per hour basis would just put them over the top.
Yeah,
And, which is this, but it's significantly more than what we're getting paid here. Granted, it's a turf and 2
Yeah.
fields and lights, though they pay for the lights, and the custodial fees are separate, so there's some variations there,
But it's still not, we're not within shouting distance.
several times more than what we're making on our field.
so the Triton Youth soccer season ends in a month,
I have
I
it
think
to
it's
11/18 is what's on the
and
calendar.
then how
11,
about
18?
GPS?
They were supposed to only be on the field for September, for 5 weeks. And
So
they're on
it's
now.
GPS in the spring as well?
Uh-huh.
Triton Youth soccer is too, right?
Yep. So that
So-
was only their fall payment.
Should we reach out to them as soon as possible and say, we're revisiting all this, and one aspect of it is knowing exactly how much time you guys actually use?
That's-
'Cause we don't want to,
We
we
can-
don't wanna make assumptions about how much you're using the field, and then, because that's gonna feed into
Yeah.
our calculations around the way we need to change this, but we need to know. Now, if I was them, of course, I would,
It's almost like a two thing,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit them first, we're not gonna, rephrase that. We're gonna talk to them and discuss the fact that you guys only on your application since September. Well, we saw you in August and in October, and if we see them through the whole month, and if we see them in November, it's kinda like, hey, you guys usually got 2 months out of this. We wanna know what you're using for the next year, and what you're using, but it's almost like, I remember talking last year in April, they lost a lot of time because of all the weather and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's their trade-off for doing it or what, but
No, so that was an
but-
error.
I think it was an error on the paperwork.
Yeah.
If you go
So-
back the following, they're always there a whole season, and a season is
Yeah.
not 1 month.
oh, I was shocked when you said only 5 weeks,
I
I'm
looked at
thinking,
that application like 6 times because to me, it's an error, there's just no way.
but they're paying the same amount? If they pay the same amount each year?
Well, I don't really have the details on the year before, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, if we knew they were paying the same amount, then they're just saying, they think it's
Oh, no,
10
they're
grand.
paying, because they're paying per person, so it doesn't
Oh, yeah,
matter
exactly, they don't have the time.
what the rental time frame is.
And that's where I think Michelle's
Does
idea
that not
of
say-
putting it on per month can
It
make a
says
difference.
8 to 9,
Yeah.
that's not an 11.
That looks odd. It looks like a 9, like, cause if you look at the one above it, it looks
But
like.
again,
Yeah, it
it's
looks
not
like
a person thing, they're
927.
covering their pieces.
Yeah.
So it looks like they
I'm
rented
sorry,
it
we
for 5 weeks.
should,
Yeah.
as soon as possible, let GPS and Triton Soccer know, we wanna revisit how we,
Well, and
How we
Triton
s-
Youth Lacrosse,
and Triton
which
Cross.
would be important to have
So-
somebody here for that, but.
Well,
As
I
soon
have-
as possible, start to get a feel for how often you're using
I
fields.
know that I'm scheduled to be there, at least until the 3rd of November.
Well, no, Triton Youth Soccer has it until the 18th.
Yeah, but.
Oh,
Just like
GPS.
GPS, you're talking
It was
At least.
it was an
That's-
error on the
that's-
application,
yeah.
but they need to, you know, I use those applications to schedule the field.
If anybody else has any more things they wanna add, just forward it to the 3 of us, or put it out to the committee, and we'll
Yeah,
Put
feel
all that
free to
together.
take those home and they're quick and dirty.
But
Um,
it tries to compare apples to apples comparable to what we've seen with other fields, and we've gone really all around the area, so to see what we need, so. Next is the update on the field house. I apologize for not being at last month's meeting, but it looks like we had one
Yes,
bid.
we
Yes,
did.
we did,
That was over.
by $30,000.
Yeah, 29,000. I'd love to know, we've already accepted and already said we're gonna do the money
Well,
and,
it's kind of going through the town administrator and not so much with us. They were fleshing them out.
oh, I'd be all over it, because what you and I talked about is that it's right now, it's market prices, people know that they want it done now, and they're gonna give up other jobs, they're gonna want top dollar for it. And we were hoping to be under the 200,000, instead we're 30,000 over it, for
Yeah.
less work.
Mark,
Or was that bid including the full kitchen?
we have no idea.
It wasn't included.
No, and we also, I don't think we have much say in that. I think
No.
that they're just, I think that the town thought it was close, and that's what I was getting from that.
I took pictures, you wanna take that?
So the town is green lighted everything at this point, the same,
I can't,
No,
Mark.
as of last meeting, they were fleshing out the credentials of the,
oh, yeah.
so we haven't
I
already
don't
bid.
know what the update is this
Yeah,
week.
they have to make sure insurance,
There is some
probably.
kind of fund that we can.
Were you and Mark working on that to try to see what's going on in that, or, okay?
I haven't heard from Mark since, I think, the last meeting.
There is some kind of fund that we can access.
Yeah, the other 30,000, the 29 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that.
So, that's the update.
Okay.
So we're kind of, just put on hold.
Yeah, or is there anything that we can do to find out when, or anybody reach out to, I don't mind doing it, or
Tracy.
someone,
Contact Tracy.
I will email her to say, hey, what's the latest on this, what's the next steps, when do we know, and when can we start? Because we wanna make sure on our end, we look at a lot of projects that have been going on, we wanna make sure, but this is the big one that we wanna really start getting done and find out when we can start getting the work done this. I know they're gonna control the majority of it, so
It's kind of really unusual that we're so here.
I'm surprised too, but it was
Yeah.
posted, so.
I just emailed him, so.
The budget spending plan, I know he was working on that with Michelle, was it, or Celine, was it you?
No, we were all supposed to go and prioritize what we felt was important on this, and I didn't hear from anybody, and I didn't have time to do it either.
I apologize.
I kind of feel like this is, so to me personally, this is a
spending plan.
list of, but it's not a 2017-18 spending plan, it's a general spending plan
Yeah.
of what we wanna spend and ideas that we're tossing around.
Yeah.
And to me, that's great that we have all that in writing, but that's not a budget.
Now
So-
we need to kind of like take this and hone it down to the
And
next step.
figure out what, and that was what we were supposed to
Yeah.
decide, kind of what we wanted to tackle for this year, and we talked about maybe things that were more one-time costs, except now the canoe launch was kind of pushed off for some reason.
I think it was permitting.
It was federal, it had to go through.
Oh, right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, if we all went back through this and kind of said what we think is right, what's wrong, and then either submit it back to the spending plan subcommittee so they can say, hey, this is what our recommendations are, everybody's recommendations. At that point, we can say, they can come back to say what they feel. Because right now, I mean,
Who's on that, is it just Mark and Alicia on that?
I think so,
It's on the minutes.
it is, I remember that now. So if everybody the next 2 weeks, that'll be the question when we get near the end here, because right now, I mean, I'll real quickly figure that out. Our next scheduled meeting is supposed to be from Monday the 6th, but that's the day before the election.
November 6th?
Yeah. Is that gonna be a problem for anybody, other than me? Cause I have my company thing that was in September, got moved. It's that week, so I was gonna see if we could possibly move to the 13th. I mean, it changes, I just gotta make sure we have it.
I think I'm here for
Yeah, no problem. One of the issues we ran into with the whole spending budget thing was the difference between what we have to spend money on and what we wanna spend money on. Like, the upkeep of the fields is not that's not negotiable anymore.
No, it's, there's your fixed costs, your operating costs that come in through, and then you have your flexible spending that you look
We
at.
only
But
spent
then,
about $4,000 on that last year.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what that's
Out
what
of-
my thought was, what this budget was about, was what did we spend on this and what, and not, I mean, I like having a to-do list, but to me, there still needs to be a budget and, you know, we have $50,000 a year to spend, this 5,000 goes to this.
then you have the balance, what are you gonna use that money for? And when anything I've ever done before is like, alright, I know here's what I have to spend and here's my, so when I used to figure budgets out, I would sit and say, for this event, we'd have this much money applied, this much money here, and then I figure out what's the projected revenue for each, and then what the total number was at the end, you look at your number.
Or
But we don't have, it's not like we're bringing revenue
it's not
in,
revenue, so it's
'cause that goes
basically,
right-
there's a lump sum and what do we, how do we efficiently,
spend the 50,000 each
to
year.
me, save 10% as a safety and then
Yeah.
it's budget out the rest and what you want. But I'm not a finance person.
No.
So-
So the question is, what if we had $40,000 to $45,000 a year, what would we spend it on? And what's worth it?
Where's that number come from though?
The town.
The
Town-
town
town
gives
is-
it-
We
town gives
didn't,
it
we
to you.
barely touched it last year.
Yeah, so, but we bring in how much a year and,
They take what we bring in
Right.
and they give us the 50,
but how much do we bring in?
about less than 50.
So technically, we'd be operating at a loss if we spent the 50 plus what we bring in, but the towns are looking at that.
Yeah.
But again, we also have never gotten close to that number, other than when they did the initial work, I think,
Yeah,
on
but I
the
think
house.
Mark was trying to say about the $50,000 is not so much, it's not like a business where, okay, we brought in X amount of money from our fields, we can spend up to that amount of money. The town considers recreation, sort of, you know, keep the kids on the street.
Priority.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they're allotting, they're looking at this saying that additional net loss as it benefits something that's gonna help the town, so they're willing to allocate additional funds
Yep.
towards that. So they, in their budget, have allotted $50,000 to the rec committee to use as they see fit. Any additional money that comes in goes back into their main kitty at that
Yep.
point. Well, like an event to the big thing. So it's just a question of how do we wanna spend $40,000 to $45,000, because 5 of it's, as you said, earmarked as a fixed ops each year. And he's got different ideas, which is great.
Well, and I do think like this whole field house section is kind of not relevant for this year's spending.
Because that's money that's,
It's next year.
it's gonna be next year, and on top of it, it's, most of that's coming out of construction
So
stuff.
it's gonna be 2018.
When does the fiscal year start next year?
It's a July to July.
That's
like
why I-
So in theory, I thought someone said the field house was supposed to be done in March. Is that what, was
That
that
was,
something?
that was in the RFP, I think, but there wasn't, it hasn't been finalized yet.
Okay.
That was contingent on the bid, that you were willing to do it. I think this is why people were like, I'm gonna be doing this winter
Okay,
time and all
so
that.
then I stand corrected, so then that would be in this year's.
It'd be the tail end, we get it done, if they're trying to get it done in time.
But does that come out of our budget, because it doesn't come out of our
What
budget?
is
That,
the
no, that money,
stage-
that's money's part of the RFP.
Stage go out of the,
What? All electrical, septic, all this stuff, if this is, he's using that as saying how much it's gonna cost annually for the electricity, all this stuff, that's not stuff that's operating expenses as well, because now we'll have that to add to the 5,000 we're already spending with Mello and everybody else.
So now we're down to what, 35?
No, he's got $1,000 here, he's got 1,200 a year for electrical, 600 for septic, cleaning,
but then he has field care for 9,000.
fuel care.
Field care, you don't pay that.
No, that should come out of our budget, it should be part of our budget. But I'm looking at these numbers right here that he's talking here, this is the numbers right there, the AED, that's a one-time hit. But he's averaging so we have $4,000 right now that we've been spending annually through all our expenses. He's got an additional $3,500 in annual expenses, like your fixed ops are gonna cost. So now of that 4, now we're $7,500. And then from that, so we look back down, so then you start looking backwards from there. From here to
Does
there,
anybody
16
else-
grand.
Who's on this? Is it just Mark and Alicia?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Who's joined this committee?
I may jump on that. Because I wanna find out what they're looking at and make sure I get a better understanding of the number.
Okay,
I know it's just him and Alicia.
okay. So we'll have, Mark, Alicia, Mike.
I will send them an email to see if I can jump on the committee.
But this is basically gonna be pushed off as well.
Yes, that's gonna be tabled because one, Mark's not here to report on it, neither is Alicia. Other than the questions we have that they've shown us. Next one is the basketball. How are we doing?
I did not get a chance to go out and actually mark it for the town to come look at.
Yeah.
Do we know when they're due to come out and look at it or?
So we can get that done for sure.
But we've marked it, we know it fits.
We marked it, we know it fits.
Yeah, and
That's not the issue, but
Yeah.
the issue was getting the town to come out and take a look at.
That would be a question of whether you could send to Alicia and she should be able to direct us to the right place because
Basically,
she's our liaison at that point.
Definitely need James.
Definitely, because if they're talking
And
about
then I
doing it.
think we wanted the selectmen to drive by and be able to take a look at it and have a visual.
But I would,
So I'll ask Alicia.
yeah, because she's the one that's good, she'd be able to help us coordinate that.
Okay.
And then,
And I can confirm with Matt Doran, I've gone back and forth with him about basketball tryouts, but I completely forgot to add the cash, because I know it's 9K, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
9 plus 1, 9 minus 1, so.
and the town's been working on in Byfield, so I think they've got their hands full at this point right now, doing.
well, I think if we did anything, it might be a spring
Yeah,
Yeah.
thing.
I mean,
But-
it'd be great to have for the,
Yeah.
for the season
Already
starting
next-
up, but it's not gonna happen next month or two. Doesn't
Next
matter.
month is already November and then it's
Yeah.
December, so
Yeah.
it's kind
But they may have their slow time, and they might, depending on weather.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Well,
'cause that's what
if they come
was-
back, if we can, we still have to lay it out,
Yep.
and once they approve that, then we can say, alright, how soon can we get this in, what's it gonna cost and all that, and do we have to put that up to bid?
The balance of the.
That's what you said.
Springtime could be, I mean, that could be kinda nice.
Yep.
Yeah, fired up in the spring.
How are we keeping people from driving on? Like, what
We're
is
gonna,
there
we're
gonna be some sort of
gonna try to
barrier?
put up the
Well,
rope
that's
things.
not on our list here, but
What, put around it, or?
what's going on with the signage and the rope stuff that was supposed to be? It's at the town is doing it, right? It's-
Town's
Yeah.
doing Is the sign,
We've allocated the funds and they were supposed to do it, and Mark was talking to James about it last we saw. So,
For the court, we could put those things that they have at the rental car places where you drive over them.
oh,
Well,
now
you will learn the hard way.
yeah, the idea was to put something on the roadside so that balls, I think we talked about it, so
Yeah.
balls don't, because
Right.
there's a natural hill that goes down,
Right.
so, you know, the kids miss and it
Yeah.
running out in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Not that there's a ton of traffic.
Even if we had to put up the poles, the meshes,
Yeah,
the mesh nets type of thing on the areas on those two sides, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be expensive, you talk a couple of poles, but then at least it kind of secludes the area
Yeah.
off. And they'd still be, when we get through, shouldn't have a problem. Kentway, I don't know what specifically
So
we
what
want.
we can say about Kentway.
Alright, that'll be tabled. Next is the charge or mission statement. Couple comments were thrown on that. Dave, you had something on, I saw it posted today.
This was my changes. Nobody got back to me, so I'm just giving them my own.
I didn't get to see what was discussed originally, so I'll look to see what comes through. Was that the one that you sent out?
This is the one I sent out. Is that what
Alright,
you-
I have the same one,
Okay, this is the original one,
and that's what I'm
So-
curious of.
which needed to be, you know, like, he had mission statement, charge, membership, it just needed to be cleaned up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's all I did.
my only thing was the
Oh, yes.
select board, I think, was that supposed to be board of selectmen?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a short.
No, this totally needs to be tweaked.
Okay.
Town of Newbury recognizes the importance of recreation opportunities as, I know you're shifting.
Important aspect, yeah.
An important aspect of, towards the
what
overall
I-
quality of life, so you shifted that in there, so out of that, so I need to elaborate, okay. With adoption of proposal, including our mission, charge, and membership and guidelines, Newbury Recreation Committee members will use this as a guideline for committee and appointment of select board annually. Anybody have any problems so far?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, I don't think it reads very well, it could use a little, my edits.
These are your edits on here.
Yeah,
These
that's
are my
it,
edits.
that was the original. I'm not
Too
reading
bad
off the
that you
original.
edited it and you sent it out, and other than that, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so too.
I read
It
it.
just seems like the importance of recreational opportunities as an important aspect.
Oh, right, very fair. I've already jumped
The
on.
town of Newbury recognizes the importance of recreational opportunities.
Why can't we just get rid of the importance of, recognizes recreational opportunities
Okay.
as an important
Yeah.
aspect? Just get rid of all
And
of it.
then with the adoption of this proposal, including our mission, charge, and membership and guidelines, the recreation communities will use this. I didn't really like the way it's, I don't, it. Cause he had will embrace this and the whole thing, and so then I just, those are the two sentences I don't like, after that
Yeah,
it's.
how about, can we just say as adopted at the very beginning? As adopted, comma, the Newbury Recreation Committee members will use this as a guideline. We can skip the mission chart, it's all there. I mean, we don't need to say it if it's in there.
Okay, that's adopted.
As adopted, the Newbury Recreation Committee members will use this will use the following as a guideline. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Should I start a new sentence, the committee will be appointed by?
No,
Sounds like
we use the following as a guideline, right, period. As a guideline, period, you don't need for our committee. And then,
And just say
and
you're
then
here.
the committee will be appointed.
Instead of and.
So the whole thing would read, as adopted, the Newbury Recreation Committee members will use the following as a guideline, period. The committee will be appointed by the select board annually.
By the board of.
Board of Selectmen.
Right,
Okay, I got that. Alright.
Town of Newbury's Recreation Committee, anybody else have any questions beyond that? The rest of it looks pretty good from what I saw. No more than seven outlet, this, I wanna make sure that I was clear when I read this. no more than 7 at-large members appointed by the selectmen, all are voting members. So we're the only ones, right now, we have 6 sitting, so for our quorum, we need to have 4 to make a meeting. Alright. A liaison, which is Alicia, as of right now. Authorized open space committee member, I have no idea what that actually means, Alyssa.
Okay, so I had to, it got rid of the, ex officio.
Right, I like it like so much better authorized
Okay.
Yeah.
than ex officio.
That's-
But what is open space? I mean, what?
Authorized, that's what I was curious, I didn't understand that.
Well, is there, so that's, you wanna put a question mark to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more of an understanding to find out, because it's, I mean, it's still someone's gonna come here, they're gonna do it, but again, they can't vote. All these other people can't vote in this. Authorized representative from any athletic league, so if we wanted Matt, or we wanted somebody from the other, from the soccer lacrosse, they certainly could be part of the board, they just don't have a vote.
Yeah.
And then the authorized Newbury Council on Aging, so they want to have someone, again, that's almost like someone that represents the league, again, non-voting.
So, I mean, all these sort of addendum people, is it, I mean, do we have to keep going and say someone from the Newbury, I mean, from the library can't vote? I mean, I don't,
I would presume the board of selectmen send this out to them and see if they want to have someone represent.
Oh, okay.
And if not, and this is a question if Alicia here, we'd ask her. So actually, I think we should leave that for her. And if she says, come back, says, no, that's our responsibility, then fine, that's our responsibility. We send a letter out to each of the organizations saying, we'd love to have you to do it, to join the committee. You are a non-voting member, but you have the chance to come in and say during these meetings and provide input.
So wait a minute though, where did
Yeah.
that come from? Cause it says the following members will be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. That means the Board of Selectmen has to
Yeah, has to
approve these
approve,
people.
yeah.
And that's not right.
No, it isn't.
That should be in a separate,
Yeah.
that should be like,
A
you
subcommittee
know,
was
the,
that. It should be another.
that should go in
yeah,
a second, that should go way down at the bottom.
It should be one of the guidelines, so
like additional.
meetings will be open, meetings are open to everybody. The membership is only the 7 at-large members and the liaison to the board.
Right.
Everything else is secondary.
Mhm.
So that whole section, those 3
Yeah.
things go down below the applications.
It's almost like additional opportunities or additional membership opportunities.
You know what, it should be the committee, or the Newbury Recreation Committee will coordinate with the Open Space Committee, authorize representatives from any athletic league, blah, 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 Newbury Council on Aging, to ensure their input,
As deemed appropriate.
as deemed appropriate.
Okay.
Do you want me to say all that again real slow?
We actually have it on tape, so we could hear it again if she wants to replay it a few times. Does anybody
Yeah, I
actually?
don't understand why they would be
Yeah,
members
that's
of
right.
the
Yeah.
board if they can't vote.
Alright,
They don't
so,
need to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. Okay, I'll put that there.
so this is coming out, but it's going down here. Is a subtype of extra sentence almost. And then the guidelines at the bottom, the Newbury Recreation Committee shall meet on an as-needed basis, but not less than quarterly.
Wait, did you read the letters of intent thing, application or letters of
The
intent?
Recreation Committee must be submitted to the Board of Selectmen for consideration. Should we listen, it should be annually, cause we all have to do it, I mean, it's
It
gonna be
says
that.
right here, terms are for 1 year,
Yeah,
renewable.
Yeah, I mean, my
members-
father was just making sure, do you wanna put it up front? But members will be selected based on willingness to serve the community, terms are for 1 year, renewable, and members are appointed annually, okay.
You have to write a letter every year.
Yeah, all you have to do is just send them an email saying you wanna continue your position. And then they'll decide, if they all of a sudden, let's say 15 people came in, they look back to say, do you really want this? And if you say, yeah, I do, I wanna do this and this, and they explain it, then you have priority because you've been there, they don't want us to be.
Yeah, think about this line. Members will be selected based on their willingness and desire to serve the community, because there's 2 things about that stand out. One, who decides, or who will do the selecting?
Of these,
Yeah.
or
No,
of the 7 person,
the 7.
the board of selectmen.
So
They're the ones that
why
approve
does
us.
that line have to be on there at all?
Because it was on the first draft, sorry.
I mean, we can have to, but
That's
they're the
okay,
ones that
just
appoint
take that
us.
out.
I would take that whole line out.
Okay.
In part because it's a question of who will do the selecting, but then also it's the if you express willingness and desire to serve and you're not selected,
Alright, so you're saying take the appointed by the selectmen?
Members will be selected based on their willingness and desire to serve.
Yeah.
Maybe take that whole line out
yeah. So it becomes applications must be submitted, terms are for 1 year.
for consideration, and then that's it, yeah.
Leave it at that.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was gonna have to do lawyer stuff here today.
Can I ask a quick question, because since you just said that, membership in terms says here, that it shall consist of the following members appointed by the Board of Selectmen. No more than 7 at-large members appointed by the selectmen, take that up, second double.
Yeah.
I'd say if we're trying to clean it up, I
Yeah.
think it was well said.
Yeah.
Do it and take it out in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Boy, it's gonna be one construction.
Yeah.
Just like a resume.
it's the whole idea, you don't wanna make it so confusing, people are sitting, you wanna make sure you're getting the details, but not to the point of overkill.
Good.
Show me on an uneven basis, doesn't even appear that, no idea that happened, but, okay. Annual report was submitted to the town administrator prior to the annual meeting. I wonder what constitutes this report, this annual report.
The last annual town meeting had no Newbury Recreation Committee report. Council on Aging,
I probably
Tree
said this.
Warden,
Well, who knew?
everybody else.
Yeah, this is, again,
So when was that?
this is one thing we have to remember, we've been doing this,
Right after.
other
we
than
started.
Michelle, we've only been doing this for a year.
Oh, yeah.
We've only had our first go through, so now it's like, okay, these are things that we now know, since
No, I'm
we've
just
done
saying,
this.
Can I
I'm
ask-
saying we should do this, but we didn't.
Why does it say no more than 7 members? Because from what I had heard, more the merrier.
She sounded that way, but I think it's talking about membership is one thing, voting is a difference. They wanna keep 7 voting members, so you keep that, so if you're odd number, but everybody else, if you wanna bring in the other groups from all the different sports programs, boys and girls, then you pick up a lot more input. But when it comes down to, and then if you have your subcommittee, if it comes down to voting,
Yeah.
then you got it.
Stuck in a meeting, need to grab Anna, please hold off on. Sorry, I just, stuck in a meeting, need to grab Anna, please hold off on charge. Really important that we use ex officio, not authorized.
It's not an issue because we dropped it on the bottom anyway.
We got rid of all that anyway.
Okay.
It's okay, it's a working document, we're not voting on it,
We're,
voting it tonight.
we're not voting, it, just clean up the version, and then we send it back out and we'll look at that. But, again, nice job getting it done and cleaned up
Yeah.
tonight, everybody.
That's great.
The Power Paraglider. You guys met with them last month,
Yes,
have we made a final decision, or was there anything decided or not?
We said we would talk about it.
You guys were here, what's your opinion? There's four of the 5 that were here.
I didn't have any problem with them.
yeah, they are very professional.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically, it's sort of the timing of them. They're flighty. If it's a beautiful night and everything works for them, they let it go. So that might be a problem with us, 1, on how to charge them, and then 2, how to like set guidelines on when they can fly or when they can take off.
Are you talking about night as in like now, like
No,
7
no,
o'clock when
no,
it's
no,
dark,
no.
or only when it's light?
They have like a certain season that they like to
Okay.
fly, but it has to do with, like, what do they say, like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, there's like a 2 or 3 hour time frame that they can go. And so they said if they came to the field, if they could do it and they came to the field, I think they want it loosey-goosey, but they would like to come to the field, and if there's no one playing on it, then they would fly.
Yeah.
But if there are people playing on the field,
They go somewhere.
they would go somewhere else. They have like
So
different.
it's not a situation where we can give them 3 dates during the summer for a permit
Yeah.
and we're done. They need more flexibility, and that's the conundrum. In addition, how many paragliders? I mean,
Yeah, we
are
did-
we giving them, a permit for 5, 7, 3, so those are the 2, I think they were great. I think if we could figure out a way to work with them, it's fine, but that the
I
kind
think
of not being able to nail them down to a certain time.
Well,
are
if we put in restrictions instead of looking at it as a date situation, we're allowing you 3 to 5 or whatever days you wanna have, for how many people you wanna have, whatever we agree upon. You have those days under the following restrictions. There's gonna be no one playing at the field at the time, the weather has to be sufficient, it has to be between these hours. If they meet those requirements, then we need to be notified, someone needs to send us an email or something, notify us before they take off, not for permission, but for notification. Cause then we can say, this is day one, so we can send you the bill for the day. At least then we're giving them some flexibility, but some accountability, so they're getting both ends of it.
Yeah, I think that was a major problem for them.
I'm just throwing something out here.
Yeah, the main problem for them was the guy was flying, and then he sees an empty field, and he lands, and then the police come over. I think that's what it was, right? The police came over.
Did he get off?
Oh, did he go off? Okay,
I think the first guy was ready to go, and then the other, yeah. But I mean, so
They're wonderful people. I mean, they're
Yes.
they're
And then the question is, if they wanna notify the police that they're doing it too, so people understand what's going on, drop us, I mean, with cell phones nowadays, you can just drop us a quick email saying to either, any one of us who we want to be, just saying, this is the situation, this is the field, we're all set, we're gonna be up here, we're gonna be back, the weather worked perfect, we got it.
Yeah, see, the thing is that the guys that came up are not necessarily gonna be coming together to go
Yeah.
and fly, and they're not necessarily the only ones.
Are
that
they gonna
interested.
take off
They're
from
kind of like an
agency?
organization
Yeah.
that the people just kind of recreationally
Yeah.
go out and fly.
yeah.
Do they always, will they be leaving and taking off from our area, or could they take off from someplace and landing somewhere in our?
No, they
no,
would
that
be,
wouldn't happen.
they would have to drive their equipment over.
Yeah.
So they would take off and land in
The
the
same
same
place.
spot.
But he also said too that there's times that they'll take off from someplace and find they can't land, and so then they
Go someplace.
reroute, they land somewhere else, and then they have to be
Depending
shipped
on
back
the
to,
weather.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it all depends, I mean, they're loosey-goosey as far as, everything, so that makes it a little bit difficult to,
But would those restrictions or those requirements help give them some kind of structure, but not to the point where they can't do it, saying you only fly on Wednesdays or Fridays or Thursdays or something like that?
I don't know, one guy was saying that basically he flies the summer months, which is our time that it's
yeah,
empty
May to
there.
September.
Yeah, and,
Not even, June to September.
yeah, he said that, it was like June or July to August, or June, July,
Yeah.
August, or
Yeah.
his main times of flying, but we're basically empty then, right? I mean, we don't have anything.
Other than, unless we have a camp or the Byfield days, which is in June, but,
Yeah.
so really after the 4th of July until,
August starts filling up.
Yeah. so really, they'd have from right after the 4th of July until the 10th of August. Before that 5-6 week span, they could do it.
So we're actually thinking of charging them to take off.
Yeah, why are we charging them to take off and land? That part I don't quite understand. I mean, they park the car, they're on the ground, they take off, they're gone.
We're not talking ridiculous, we're just talking.
I wouldn't even, but they're not, I didn't get a sense they were being charged by other people. Did you?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have to have on file some kind of
Yeah.
insurance, I mean, there should be some standard pre-application process where we know about their insurance
Yeah,
and their
that'd be-
intent.
Yeah, yep.
And I like your idea about letting someone know, okay, tonight,
Right.
we're flying 6 guys, or 2 guys, or 3 guys.
I think there
And
needs
then-
to be a limit based on.
Yeah,
the
especially
neighbors,
the
how they-
neighbors, yeah.
But two, they're
yeah.
coming in, I don't know how they land, I don't know if they're coming in rolling into a stop with them on the field, cause,
They actually cut their engines, drift in by parachute.
Yeah,
really?
yeah, they don't.
So they literally take a small area, they won't use the whole thing?
No.
He said 100.
I was thinking of field, I said, we charge them like $50 for each time, and split it between $5, so it's like $10 a person? That was anything crazy.
But he said that, he was saying that
They don't
a lot of
necessarily
times,
go
yeah, they
first.
don't really know when they're gonna fly. They say he
Yeah.
likes to fly with other guys, but,
They don't necessarily do that.
yeah. And then, what did he say, it's like 18 or 14
Yeah,
or something?
in New England.
In New England.
We're talking about a very small group of
Yeah,
people.
and so it's like, he comes up and he said that he doesn't even like to talk to people when he's setting up.
Yeah.
Because he's got this, he has to go through a flight list, because they're actually
You're in the
airline-
air,
yeah.
there's
FAA.
potential.
Yeah, they're FAA, they have rules. So he said that once he flies and he's ready to go, and he said when he comes back, he doesn't mind chatting with people, but he,
They take off at Woods and Thumb, I think they're permitted to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
off at Woods and Thumb.
plays in Amesbury, Woods,
Yeah.
and wasn't the one that's in Newbury? No, what's the, Spencer Pierce? Did you say something go
No,
with
I
Spencer?
thought it's a Plum Island Airport.
Plum
maybe
Island
Plum.
Airport, yeah.
Oh, I bet you, if they're flying, I mean, if they're doing that for free from my own airport, I'd be surprised. I mean, I'm not talking ridiculous numbers, but they've got, I bet you they're paying something to land there. I think, I've got a problem doing it.
If we say 3 to 5 usages, how many people do you think we should allow up at a time with respect to the neighbors?
You have to worry about the
noise?
neighbors.
I think it'd be reasonable to say no more than, if we think there's only less than 20 in all of New England, if we say no more than 6, I mean, half a dozen people, because now we're talking about the sound of a half a dozen lawnmowers.
Yeah,
Take it off.
what they said
That's-
is they go,
Yeah,
and they're just gone.
And because of the heat coming off of roofs, they
They
don't
don't
hover over
fly
anybody's
houses.
houses.
Yeah, so they
They
go.
try not to fly over
Yeah.
people's houses, cause the heat, it's something way more scientific than I can ever understand.
So they fly, they turn around, and the only thing they do is they land. So they take off and they're gone. So however long it takes them to go, and up in the air and gone.
It's less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
if we said we needed proof of their insurance, just,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to be notified when they go, and no more than 6 at a time, just to put a restriction on it so that we can at least tell the
I think
neighbors.
6 is very generous.
Yeah.
I would have even said 3.
I was gonna say,
6 or.
I was gonna say 3 to 5, and I was gonna split the middle and say 4.
Yeah,
But it's not like I don't.
Because if everybody went up in arms over 1,
yeah.
6.
They lose their mind.
But and also, so I was thinking 1 usage a month. But,
But really, you're only gonna get them then, because they're not using it in June, so you're talking July and August. I was thinking no more than 1 a week is what I was thinking, so they'd have no more than 5 the whole year.
Well, I don't think that they're going to use this. I don't think they're going to congregate
Yeah.
here and use this as a field because they have the way it was explained to us that they had multiple fields that they, like some guys take off from wherever, and he's from New Hampshire, and the other guy I think was from Maine that came down. So they fly at different places depending on the weather and when it works for them. So I think and I could be wrong with this, but I think if we gave them permission to fly here, I don't think everyone's like, hey, they'll let us do it in Newbury, and they'll show up in droves.
Yeah.
I think that they just want a place that.
They wanna know they can do it without any problems.
Yeah, because they
Come
run.
on.
It's conditional on whether if it's a crappy day, they're not gonna fly. But if everything works, they want to get up, and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna be in Newbury. He's a doctor he's the ER doctor up here in Aunt Jake's.
Mm.
So I think that's why he was around here. But they fly. I just don't see like a cluster from showing up.
So you can see, so you're saying they really shouldn't worry about just saying how many times they wanna use it during the summer? And
If
it
we
just
keep
goes-
them to our dead period of time, I mean,
They-
Because
they
you
can-
don't want them coming like 3 days in a row. Not that they will, but what if one person
Oh,
does
yeah,
one
yeah, I know
day
what you're
and
saying.
one person somewhere else.
That's what I was
does
saying, no
the
more than
second
once
day,
a
then
week,
they'll
and I think you
disturb
cover
some
yourself.
neighbors.
So you disturb them one
give
per week.
them. We say you can fly. I don't know about what 6 days or 5 days a week, but just keep them down to one day during that period of time, instead of like having you have to
No
fly
more
on
than once
Wednesday.
every 7 days.
Yeah,
Because then you're given an option, so it doesn't matter when the 7 days are, but once you hit it, you gotta wait 7 days before you go back up again.
Yeah.
So at least gives them an opportunity, but if you were doing it on a Tuesday, that means you can't go up until the following Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
What?
I think that might be too much for the neighbors.
Once every 7 days?
No.
Oh God, my neighbor mows his lawn
yeah.
every few days.
Say 10,
I don't-
once
I
every
don't-
10 days then, because
I'll be
you
honest,
probably got, because that's about 4 times a month.
sympathy for the neighbors. It's just a lawnmower. And
Yeah.
It doesn't even
No, I agree.
Doesn't
I mean,
even
it-
last
so
the amount of time it takes to
Yeah,
mow a lawn.
and the other
so-
thing is that
Yeah.
the motorcycles that drive up and down 95 are a lot louder than.
You hear them on 95 compared to the people that are on,
Yeah,
So we just
yeah.
wanna say once per week.
say once every 10 days.
I think if you do once per week, you're not gonna see them.
You still won't see
twice-
them much, but-
Yeah, twice a month.
Yeah.
Give me one every 7 days,
Yeah.
once every 7 days.
And if it comes down.
Between what months? See,
Um,
because actually, once every 7 days from May until.
But no, we're not
September.
talking May, because
No.
we're talking our dead period. So we're
June-
talking
June.
July 5th till
So
Yeah.
between what?
July 5th and whenever, the beginning of the soccer season, which is,
September 5th?
It's not June, July, August, what they said.
I would just say June, July, August, cause
Alright.
part of it too is weather, I mean, for them, well, and also for them, it's weather, but also it's timing in the sense, I mean, they said repeatedly, if they show up at a field and people are there, they don't go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
So-
you're gonna see that, because I thought you were originally talking the dead period, that's what I was using for the numbers.
Yeah.
But if you say once every 7 days, June, July, and August, or from the end of the school year till the beginning of the school year, or summer vacation, I don't know if you wanna use that even or whatever, but. Because they're probably gonna do it during the day.
In our rules and regulations, we do have a summer period, right?
Yes. And it's
Where
usually,
that
and
is.
it's
The
usually,
dates are in there, so.
and it's the 20, I'm gonna say it's the
So we'll just
23rd.
say during our summer season.
Yeah,
Yes.
during summer too, better, yeah.
And we should also have some kind of caveat there, or some kind of wording that if it becomes a, you know, like a major nuisance, then we can,
We reserve the right to revisit.
Yeah.
because if all of a sudden, you know, we drive by and there's 10 of them floating around and, you know, supposed to have 5 land, and I don't think that's ever gonna happen,
No.
the way
No.
they were explaining it.
Yeah.
But no one ever thought that when hybrids first came out, everybody thought it was like, oh, it's just this fad, next thing you know, you get 8-10 month waiting lists for cars.
Yeah.
The green ER, did we get any, I don't know what happened to that.
Greener, Project Greener.
The green or the one at the green, they were gonna do?
Did you
They-
guys,
For the group that came in, and they were
Whoa,
supposed to.
with the trees?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you guys didn't go to this,
No.
selectmen meeting?
They presented,
They presented at the selectmen meeting, and I think from what the selectmen seemed like they wanted to allow this to start, you know, progressing. One of the, you know, there were all sorts of questions about trees and what type of tree, you know, there was this long discussion that went on and on and on about maple tree versus this tree or that tree, and moving trees around in the baseball field. So I think I think they're letting them progress with some changes, you know, to maybe.
on a trial basis, kind of see what
Well,
they're doing.
Yeah, I think that the whole thing has not been agreed upon. I guess that people really don't like the idea of having these bronze cows out there, so.
But it's been escalated to the board.
Yes, and the board of
So
selectmen.
as far as we're concerned, we don't need to worry about it, they brought it to us, it's gone to the board, we're washed our hands on it at this point.
Yeah,
Unless the board comes back and says,
Yeah.
we want you guys to monitor this or something, then we
If
sit
they
there.
wanted to change where the muster was, or,
That still is, they were like they brought their paperwork forward and there was like 10 things. And so they were trying to cut and agree on, you know, like they had.
Pieces.
Yeah, and so what they did was they take a group of stuff that they wanted to do, and they would cut down certain things to say, okay, well, you can do this or start the process on this, because at one point, well, it was,
They wanted to do the whole project all at once, and we were kind of saying, no, we want to see it in piecemeal.
yeah, and
And
that's.
see how it goes.
And so the
and we'll look
Board of
at it.
Selectmen have agreed on allowing some of the progress to happen, but I think that Mark put his input in about the fireman's muster and the location of the ball field, because they were talking about maybe changing that
Yeah.
around, and that is gonna be further studied. So there's certain things that I think they're
So
allowed.
all we need to know is, one, it's been moved to the Board of Selectmen, and two, it's being done, they're looking at it in phases right now. That's the only thing we need to worry about for
Yeah.
that. New business. I put this on there, this vote for a new chair, but I'm gonna table this till Mark is here. This has nothing to do with Mark, I just do not think two people work it out. But I will table that till next month, because he's not here and I wanna have, because it's just gonna be a question of which one do you want? And it could be, you may not want either one of us, and you want Celine or Michelle, or one of you guys wanna do it. It doesn't matter, I just think we need to vote on someone new, or vote on one person. Because I won't stay if it's two. Cause he and I will sit in the meetings, and it's obvious, you can look at it on the camera, whatever, it's very awkward. So, I have no problems with Mark, I just want, if you think he's the right person, vote for Mark. If you think I'm the right person, or anybody else that wants to do this, vote for that person, that's all we'll do, but we'll do it next month instead. Winter schedule. field shut down right before Thanksgiving, the last of the
I
soccer
think this
stuff?
had to do with
The ice rink?
ice rink.
Okay. Is there any update on the ice rink?
Still not a great idea.
Was
That's
James,
my update.
so you have no idea, so we're
Yeah.
not agreed.
What's
Oh,
that?
no, I think it's moving forward.
Yeah, it's definitely moving forward.
Okay.
It is?
I believe so.
Yes.
Where, at the field?
At the
Oh,
library.
at the library.
library.
Yeah, it's definitely moving forward to the library.
On the field, on the baseball field?
I believe so.
That's a
yes.
great idea.
I don't know if the baseball people know about it, but.
Oh, they're gonna go, they'll love that.
That's fun at the
But
library.
the only thing is, you know what that'll do? That'll bring baseball people to our meetings so we can start talking about the other part of this. You guys, we love you guys, did a great job over there, but we need to get you involved in this. Because technically that area is our responsibility.
That was one of the things that Mark talked about. I know this is probably, but to figure out exactly,
What things we oversee.
Yeah.
because right now it's like soccer
We-
fields.
That's everybody thinks that we just handle that, and it's like, no, we're responsible for the whole town.
Yeah.
And everybody's piece is there. It's great you've been doing it, but we need to start making sure we're all on.
Before I came on board, I thought the rec committee oversaw every field.
And they-
That's what was my.
We're supposed
They probably do, but we have to have charge.
I mean, you're talking about how about the high school stadium? Does that fall in the high school, does it fall under the
No,
town?
it's high
Is that
school.
regional, the board of selectmen? I mean, we're not
So
quite
it's
sure.
district.
That's district.
It's a school
But,
district.
but the Newbury Elementary field out back behind their school, where does that fall under? I've heard both the town and the school. You have to ask the school, but the town's the one that's gets, I guess, final approval, cause I was looking at doing something like that. So those are just
Yeah, we
questions.
saw the
Yep.
Summer program, plan, youth adult, Mark was kinda doing that, so I don't know if there's any more of an update on that.
We met
Oh, good,
as a subcommittee.
okay. And we
No,
have,
we did meet, Mark was unable to meet that evening, so Patrick and I had a conversation about it.
care to elaborate?
Well, I just don't, well, the whole idea of summer programming and having like a camp or some sort of like field type thing, I think that's just, that the budgeting for that is gonna be, huge, in my personal opinion, because you need to have staff, whether we offer it for free or we do something to charge someone, and we don't, there's no lifeguards at Plum Island, so why are we providing for something that there might not even be a need for within the community?
And also,
We haven't asked
and
anybody.
we're paying people to do it.
Exactly, and then there's a huge uproar over the fact that there's no funds for a lifeguard at Plum Island, which is a,
Safety case.
huge aspect of it.
What does that cost?
I don't know,
$10 an hour, 40 hours a week for 10 weeks, $4,000
Per
per grand person. So $400 a week for 10 weeks is $4,000 times what? 12,000?
3 what? 3?
For lifeguards?
Yeah, I think that back in the day,
Island?
I think there were more
On
towers.
the Newbury side, you're not talking all of the island, because we
No, I don't. Maybe you're right.
The side
Yeah.
is big,
Yeah,
Oh, well,
it's two sides.
if you as soon as you go to Southern Boulevard, as soon as I hit into Southern Boulevard, there's so much section in there that the rocks break it up that you probably,
I think what they used to
You
do is
also
they
have to be
had
able to give
four-
them
four-
breaks.
four-
maybe
6.
4 towers,
alright,
maybe 3, 4 towers, maybe that many, and then they probably they condensed all those. Like they said, this is where you're
You
safe
have
to
to have
swim.
like a rotating shift, you can't have just one person out there. for
alright,
40
so,
hours.
but if you have each person doing 8 hours, I was just saying, so, alright, so,
I don't even
Five.
think that's something we need to figure out.
No,
I
but I
think
mean,
they already have, like,
it's
they,
5 to 6
in
to fucking
past
20,
years, they
24,000.
used to have lifeguards down there, so
Yeah.
they already have that
Yeah.
piece already figured out,
Yeah.
right?
are you saying take it
Hasn't
from
happened since what, 19?
I don't know.
2000?
No,
Well, you said
not saying
19,
take it out.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Not saying
before
anywhere,
that.
it's separate from Newbury Recreation Committee, but the idea of doing a summer program when the sentiment is more towards doing something like lifeguards in Plum Island just seems like we're not addressing, first of all, we have no idea what the sentiment is towards summer programs, and we just don't know. I mean, it's an idea that's.
people were talking about it from the library, what Mark had talked about, which I thought, it sounded like he had people saying that they were wanting to do it, I'm like, okay, I think we need to get a better idea of, okay, well, how much, so maybe we talk to people saying, if we had a program down at the green, or down at the fields, bless you, how many people would sign up for a free program?
So, here's the thing, to me, when the field house is done, and there's something there, I mean, done, finished.
Yeah.
And then when the basketball court is up, then we can go to Newbury PTA and say, you know, can you give us 10 minutes at your next meeting? And we can put it out there to, not that anybody shows up for a Newbury PTA meeting, but anyway, we could put a survey out there
Yeah.
to the parents, because the parents that would be using it would be parents of elementary school kids, and say to them, would a program in the summertime, now that you can see the completed field house and the basketball court, would it be something you would want to participate in? And then the other question would be, you know, the problem to me with doing a free program, it's a great benefit to the town, but it's zero. I mean,
Right.
a parent that has a kid going to a free program has no incentive to take the kid or not take the kid on any
Yeah.
given day. Yeah, so.
I think we should, I don't think that it's gonna wait until we have those things in place. I think if we could approach the school and ask them now or in December what the need is, if there's a need.
I think that Mark was pushing the library thing because I think there seemed to be some pull towards the library. You know, like there were
Doing a
people
program
that,
at the library.
I think that, I may be high on that one, but I think that that was part of the discussion that,
Yeah,
Treat it-
unfortunately, we didn't have
Yeah.
a conversation with them.
Alright, so table this to the next meeting, you guys kind of sit down if you get any more detail. He's most likely vetted this out very thoroughly to get an idea to see what we could use at that point, and then bring it to the next meeting and see if we got any ideas. And if it means reaching out to the schools in December and see if they have anything, great.
I think that's I think we have to go through the Newbury Elementary and say, poll the parents. You know, it's easy to send out a poll and say, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do survey monkey, right?
Yeah,
Don't they-
exactly.
do they still do that?
Yeah.
If we were offered, and you make it one or two question thing, it's sort of like, if we were to offer a program, would you take advantage of it? And then, would you take advantage of it if there was a nominal cost? We'll
I
say,
don't even know, do they run their, I know they do kids club every day after school at
Yeah.
Newbury Elementary School, but I forget, do they do one in the summertime too? I think they used to.
no, they used to, years ago, and my
No,
kids were
that
part
was
of
the
it.
rec committee, that was
Yeah.
the rec thing. The kids club is something different, isn't it?
My kids club's
Clubs,
after, is
like,
after
used to
school.
be Mrs. Rogers' place and stuff like that years ago, but now it's kids club, and run, and I could have sworn they used to have something in the summertime.
Summertime.
I don't know, but maybe they don't do that anymore, that's a core.
I mean, they used to have that rec program that was certain ages were
Yeah,
Monday, Wednesday, and the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
ages were Tuesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
and then they had one trip to Canopy Lake and one trip.
this is local.
Yeah,
So,
Newbury.
yes,
Huh, interesting.
that was.
I
That's
laughed
fine.
because I ran into someone the other day that,
What if they-
when I was younger, I did the playgrounds over in Newburyport. We did 2 days of, we had 2 different locations on Monday and Tuesday, and 2 different locations on Wednesday and Thursday. And then every other Friday, we all met at, like, the Pine Park, so we had baseball field, and there was also the amusement ground a little bit. And kids paid $10-15 a week, or $10 a week, something like that, and the kids, it was great, because they had 4 hours twice a week at their playgrounds. They signed up, let's say 2 days, so for 8 hours, they got someone who kind of, we had counselors on staff a little bit, granted, it was a lot cheaper.
I guess the other part is that if we do a summer program, we don't wanna get into the point that we become a free babysitting.
Yeah,
You need
and
to-
that's what
Right,
Pat
you
was saying.
can't do it for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were trying to see if we could get off the ground and see if we can do it, but at the same point, I'm not opposed to it either.
I mean, I don't think $40 a week for a kid is a lot.
Depending on the hours a week you're talking. Are you talking just mornings? You're talking 8-hour days? Then you're talking meals and all that stuff, where if they drop them off at 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, they pick them up before noon. You're not dealing with meals, you can do, other than a quick snack, if you wanna bring something.
Yeah, bring it
You're
up.
not dealing with the heat as much in the morning, so,
huge liability.
yeah.
Food, yeah. Food, yes.
Food in the heat, you gotta make sure, cause then, and what do you do on days it rains, you just don't have the thing?
Yeah, we dealing-
Well,
And then
you
and then
guys,
part of
I
it,
hate to say this, but you should probably try to meet Mark, so.
Right. Last thing I have on the list here is the layout of the Central Street Recreational Environmental Resource Area, which I don't know anything about, and I think that was a Mark thing.
Central Street what?
The layout of the Central Street Recreational and Environmental Resource Area.
That's the whole, That's the whole fields, including what we were talking about using, I believe
Well,
so.
the goal line,
The
Basketball,
and the
So unfortunately, that's gonna have to be tabled, because we don't have any details on this yet, so this will be shifted to next month.
We could buy swing sets for the Center Street, can we?
probably not a bad idea.
Put that in
Which
our
one?
budget,
Which one?
they range
Should.
anywhere from,
I think
parents
that
of the
would be
kids
great.
that are
That would
playing
be
soccer.
amazing
People
idea.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be an
I
amazing
think it
idea.
would be wonderful.
Well,
they range from 6 to 27,000.
excuse me,
They're not cheap.
6 to 27,000.
Well, I mean, it
That
really
seems cheap.
depends what you,
Yeah.
but like you could do just the basic swings and then add on.
Yep. I bet that thing in Newburyport was probably
Which
You
one?
could
the one in the
find
center
out
of town.
if
You know,
use,
the
like,
right in the mall.
how much did
Or is it the
they
mall?
use?
No, what's the name of the?
On In Street?
Yeah, In Street. I bet you that was probably like a 30,000 or more.
Well, the one at Newbury Elementary was
And
not
then
cheap.
some
Oh,
swings.
go ahead, no, the one up back?
Yeah.
How much? I haven't seen that. That's.
I don't know how much,
Yeah.
but
Who paid for that? Was that a town thing?
It
or
was,
was-
no, it was all fundraising.
Oh, really?
See, and
it's
that's
super
something we
safe.
can do, like, you do one thing one year and then you do the swing set next year and then you add
10
one other
grand.
thing.
that's something, if you're gonna spend money on a budget, put in there, and you can do it, whether you did it in pieces like you're talking about, or you hit something up.
Yeah.
But for kids that, I mean, I can imagine parents sitting in, having other kids out
That next
losing
to
their mind
basketball,
saying,
on the other side of the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
so you have towards the wall, if you're coming down to the driveway, where the field house is here, so put it here and put the basketball court on the backside.
Yeah.
Like Raleigh, remember? When you take your kids to play soccer, and the younger ones go
Yeah.
off and
Go
go
off,
around
yeah.
there. and
That was
there's
the
the
back
I
section,
used
yeah.
to see information
Just-
on the AED, but I got it now,
There's a ton of there's a nice little spot as you're
What's
pulling
that?
in.
Hold on, this
That parking lot on the right hand side.
That'd be perfect.
Right, the sort of the staging hill
sled?
where the kids sled,
Yeah.
but there's that flat area up top, and I thought, well, that'd be a great spot for it, but then I thought, well, maybe it's a little bit too close to the road for parents.
I would
put
think
one of
that I would be
these
concerned of running across the parking lot.
Yeah.
Let them sled down and then go down.
Ooh, snap.
It's like
Put it up the back part of the
sled
field
launch.
instead.
but shoot, too,
Oh,
the
yeah.
slip and slide for the
There we
swimmer.
go.
Would it be wrong to put that on top of the septic, or could that, might be a little problem?
I don't think you can, well, the leaching field was septic, I don't think you can put it, we had ours off, are you joking? We had ours beyond our leaching field,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I mean, that's more of a permanent structure, but, you know, the little wooden cedar thing.
we had the wooden cedar thing,
But
but
it's
we
not, I mean,
put it beyond our leaching field, because we have no clue about.
I haven't had
Rural
games out there, so I don't
regulations.
know, but I mean, if you had other kids that were not playing,
Yeah.
would it be a beneficial, would it be a benefit to have it added out there?
Oh, I think
We
just
should
in
put it on
general
our
would be.
swing-
I
we should
think-
put it on our budget.
I think, yeah,
Because the one down the library gets used all the time, you know,
budget
kids,
spending plan, so
Especially
when I go
baseball
to
games,
be
yeah.
shop for them,
God, yeah.
I will
But
add that to the list
with
to see if we
with
can
young
do it.
It
kids,
would have
you're,
to stay on the same side as the field, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not on the other side of the parking lot.
I'm sure it's
It's
plenty of
already
space.
hard enough to get through there without hitting a kid that runs through the cars.
That's all I have. Do I hear any other questions or anything we need to add? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Any questions? All those in favor?